The 2024 NFL Combine is just around the corner, and there are a few prospects that I believe are going to set that thing on fire. And you remember what Anthony Richardson did around this time last year when he had his crazy out of this world combine performance. He was trending, he was going viral, everybody was talking about him. And there are a good amount of prospects that I believe can just absolutely destroy the combine this year. And I'm going to start off with Joe Milton. You guys are in for a treat if you tune into the combine to watch Joe Milton. And if you don't care about the combine, at least tune in to watch this dude throw the ball, because when he throws the football, it's pay-per-view television, people. There are a lot of players that I know that play college ball that remember the day they saw Joe Milton throw the football at a rivals camp. And the way they describe it, they make it seem like it was a pay-per-view worthy performance. And with how strong of an arm he has, you could possibly say that he has the strongest arm in the history of football. And when he gets drafted, whoever he gets drafted to, or if he goes undrafted, as soon as he is officially in the NFL, he's going to have the strongest arm in the league. This dude has a damn cannon. And this pay-per-view television, watching him throw the football, there are only a few amount of quarterbacks that I would pay money to watch throw the football, and Joe Milton is one of them. Go look up Joe Milton at the Manning Passing Academy. He had to throw that made Peyton Manning and Eli Manning just go damn. So watch out for Joe Milton. We're not going to see Drake Maye, Jaden Daniels, or Caleb Williams throw the football. And it's going to be a great opportunity for Joe Milton to impress a lot of scouts, display that strong arm that he has. Hopefully he doesn't overthrow anybody, because his big issue is throwing with anticipation and accuracy. But if he looks really good throwing the football, doesn't put any balls on the ground or overthrows anybody, many people are going to be talking about Joe Milton. He has great size, 6'5", 235 pounds. He's a pretty decent athlete. Not a great athlete, but he's a pretty decent athlete. Look out for Joe Milton, at the combine. Drake Maye, he's not going to be doing anything at the combine, but I at least want to see what he weighs in at and what people are going to say about him with how he handles the interview process. But I'm really disappointed that he's not throwing at the combine. Other than Joe Milton, I wanted to see Drake Maye throw the football as much as any other QB. He has a really good delivery. He made a lot of crazy passes throughout the regular season last season for UNC. He threw a fadeaway touchdown off his back foot, not even stepping up in the pocket. I forgot what game it was, but it was to one of the top receivers that we have in this year's draft. My mind's blanking out right now. I can't think of them, but it's just a travesty to see Drake Maye not choosing to show us all how good he can throw that rock at the combine. So just act like he's not even on this list. Brian Thomas, you talk about a glitchy wide receiver. He's 6'4", 225. No, he's 6'4", 205 pounds, excuse me. And we all know how good his buddy Malik Neighbors is. But the gap between Brian Thomas and Malik Neighbors, I don't believe is that wide. He has great size. He's going to be a great red zone target at the next level. He's also a really good deep threat. And he's a lot better after the catch than what you may think for a guy of his size. Now, what's his 40 time going to be? That's the big question. That's what I want to see at the combine, all right? He weighs in at 6'4". Let's say maybe he adds on some water weight. He's 210 pounds, and he runs a 4.5 or a 4.4 something during the 40-yard dash. He's going to be a lock for a top 15 selection in the 2024 draft. There's no way somebody 6'4", 205 pounds running anything 4.5 or 4.4 or faster is not going to get drafted top 15. This dude is a monster. So look out for Brian Thomas at the combine. Troy Franklin is another receiver that many people are going to be fascinated with. He has really good size. He's not as good as a contested catch guy as Brian Thomas is, but with how fast he is, he should be one of those players who runs one of the fastest 40 times at the combine this year. He has a track background. He should run somewhere between 4.3, high 4.4. Anything slower than 4.48 would be a massive disappointment for Troy Franklin. And he potentially could be somebody that, with a good combine performance, could sneak his way into the first round. Yeah, he has an issue with drops, but other than that, he's everything that you look for in the receiver. He is a fluid athlete. He's not just one of those straight line guys that has slow agility. He's a pretty fluid route runner. He's able to get open. It's just if he can become a more consistent pass catcher and he does a really good job in a gauntlet drill and he crushes the 40-yard dash, he could be a late first-round selection. Keon Coleman was somebody who many people were high on. His stock is starting to fall a little bit with concerns about his athleticism and how well he's going to be able to separate. Troy Franklin is one of those combine stories that could end up catapulting himself into a first-round pick. Nate Wiggins, to me, is the most freakish cornerback in this year's class, and this isn't a deep cornerback class. As a matter of fact, this may be one of the weakest cornerback classes that we've had in a very long time. Nate Wiggins, to me, though, is the clear-cut cornerback one in this draft. Very physical, good in press coverage, pretty good man-to-man corner as well. He's a willing tackler, although last season wasn't his best display of tackling, but the season before that, he was way better in run support. But he's a really good athlete, really fluid hips. He's somebody who's going to crush the broad jump, the vertical jump. His 40 time, I'm not expecting anything crazy, but I should see at least 4.5, low 4.4, something like that. And as a Steeler fan, I'm hoping that we can either get him or Cooper DeJean, the white cornerback out of Iowa. Cooper DeJean would have been on here, but he's injured and he's not going to be able to go. So Nate Wiggins, I definitely can't wait to see how he tests out. James Williams, you talk about one of the freakiest safety prospects in recent memory. I mean, I remember when he was coming out of high school and Miami fans were super hyped about him. And, I felt like he left a lot on the table with his career at Miami. Yeah, he got a lot of accolades and honors, but I truthfully believe that he could have been a top 3 safety in college football this past season with how good he is. But he's a really good athlete. You already know that. He's a Florida boy. He comes from the U. They do nothing but produce really good athletes there. And potentially, he could be Cam Chancellor 2.0. He's 6'4", 230, really rangy. And you don't really see safeties or even defensive backs in general with this kind of size anymore. So if he runs a really good 40, like 4.4, maybe 4.5, it has to be high 4.5 because low 4.5 probably means that you're more of a linebacker at this size. So you want to see him demonstrate just how fast and how agile he is at that size for that position. Because if he can show that he can move and he has good change of direction, yeah, he could be one of those gym prospects that goes day 2 that a lot of people don't really talk about, and he ends up being a day 1 starter like Tyreek Stevenson. Because with this size, this kind of skill set, if he tests out well, like he should, I don't see how nobody would have wanted a guy like James Williams on their team with the kind of versatility he can bring. He can play in the box. If he's fast enough, he could play single high. Maybe he can be a cover 2 safety. Dallas Turner. You talk about physical specimens. Dallas Turner is built like fucking Hercules, bro. He's jacked up. He's ripped. He has muscles coming out of damn near every part of his body. Muscles coming out of his arms. Muscles coming out of his neck. Hell, you got muscles on top of muscles just stacked up on top of each other. And not only does this dude have impeccable size, but the way he's going to crush the 40-yard dash is going to make you glad that you're not in the NFL lining up blocking Dallas Turner, bro, because this dude is one of those SEC cyborgs. And let's be honest, the majority of college football's best athletes come from the Southeastern Conference. And the reason for that is because these dudes down south are just built differently. Like, did you not see Jalen Carter? His combine performance last year? Like, oh my goodness. You talk about somebody that's just built like he was coming out of a Wolverine movie. Dallas Turner? Yeah, like watching him run the 40 is going to be something that you definitely cannot miss. And he is the second best pass rusher in this draft class to me behind Latu. Or, yeah, I think that's how you pronounce his name. But Dallas Turner, the dude's built like Hercules, looks like Wolverine in a sense. He's going to kill it. Chop Robinson, I don't think he's being talked about enough. Where he's going to land in the draft is really going to depend on if he performs the way that I expect him to and many other people do at the combine. He is a freak. He has really quick get off. Go back and watch that Michigan game. This dude was absolutely terrorizing one of Michigan's starting offensive tackles. And it was so bad to the point that the game plan to get away from the passing game just because their offensive line didn't really have any answers for Penn State's pass rush. And Chop Robinson was a huge reason for that. I believe he could be a first-round selection. A lot of mock drafts have him going early second, but he has really good hands. I think he has pretty good technique. With a great combine performance, he's going to be one of those dudes who should have one of the fastest 40 times for edge rushers. And, the vert's going to be good if he chooses to do it. He's just one of those dudes that whatever he does, any drill he participates in at the combine, he's going to look damn good doing it. And if he is, he should find himself as a first-round lock because I think he's one of the best pass rushers in this draft class. He's top 3 in my opinion, and I really don't see why not enough people feel he's a first-round pick. Jaheim Bell. All right. I really thought that this dude was going to be a lot better than what he was last season at Florida State, but they had so many mouths to feed that you have to go back and look at his tape at South Carolina. He did it all. He was playing tight end, a little bit of receiver, fullback, wildcat quarterback. He's an incredible athlete. He's undersized for what you want out of a tight end. He's only 6'2", 244 pounds, but he should test out really well. He is really good in the open field after the catch, which is something that you don't really expect out of a tight end. You don't expect your tight end to be a yak threat, but Jaheim Bell has that ability. If he runs a really good 40, I think he can run 4.5. If he runs 4.5, that's going to be impressive. And if he looks smooth during the gauntlet drill, I think his draft stock is going to improve tremendously, and he should test out well. This dude is a freak. How many teams do you see put their tight end at wildcat quarterback or running back and fullback and give them legit carries? You got to be really special to have that kind of skill set. Jaheim Bell is the most underrated, or one of the most underrated players in this draft. I think a lot of the people need to be talking about him a lot more. I get that he's undersized and his blocking isn't that good, but there are a lot of tight ends coming into the league now that aren't that great of blockers. But you can find a way to improve that. But he's one of those dudes, you get him on your football team, and you just got to find ways to get him the football. But these are the prospects that I believe are going to set the 2024 NFL Combine on fire. Let me know some players that are going to be participating in the Combine this year that you think are going to test out well, who could set it off.